Good morning.
Welcome to our vlog.
My name is LiQWYD Special together with my partner.
My name is Roger Kanya. It's 4:42 in the morning, so we're heading to our next stop, which is in Cebu City.
See.
And finally, we're here in Cebu City. We arrived earlier, and we're all excited to discover and explore the historical and cultural attractions that can be found here in Cebu City. And we're heading to our first destination, the Magellan's Cross. The Magellan's Cross is an iconic tourist attraction in Cebu City because of its historical and cultural importance. Prior to the introduction of Christianity in the Philippines in 1521 and Islam in the 14th century, Filipinos' faith background has traces of animism, Buddhism, and Hinduism. This is evident until now as we have stories related to Diwata originated in Hindus, Devata comparable to fairies, and Anito statues. The locals believe that this represents the nature spirits or spirits of dead ancestors for guidance and protection.
When we entered to Santo Niño, the security guard inspected our respective bags as required, and for the safety of all inside.
Hello guys, good day. I'm LiQWYD Special together with my partner.
I am Roger Kanya. Finally, we're here in Fort San Pedro as one of the most beautiful and interesting place in Cebu City.
This is one of the most historical places here in Cebu. So this was built on 1960s. So let's go
guys, let's discover.
History of Fort San Pedro. Fort San Pedro is one of the oldest Spanish forts in the Philippines. Work was started in May 8, 1565, with Legazpi himself breaking the ground. The work of colonization had just begun, and due to the hostility of the natives, the Spaniards were compelled to build a fort. Most of the sporadic assault and nighttime raids came from the sea, so Legazpi constructed the fort by the shore. The name San Pedro was derived from Legazpi's flagship, in which sailed the Pacific Ocean in 1565. The Fort San Pedro became a part of American Warwick Barracks during the American regime. In later years, from 1937 to 1941, the barracks were converted into schoolrooms, where many Cebuanos received their formal education. During World War II, from 1942 to 1945, Japanese took refuge within its historic walls, constructed trenches and dug tunnels inside the court leading to the sea. When the battle for liberation was fought, the fort served as an emergency hospital for the wounded.
The fort is described as built of stone mortar with a tripling where guns are mounted. The fort contained the necessary buildings. The largest of these was the Cuerpo de Guardia, where the personnel that manned the fort lived. Adjacent to it was Vivienda del Teniente, which was the living quarter of the lieutenant of the fort. In between the aforementioned buildings is a well. At one corner, attached to walls of the bastion of San Miguel, was the Almazanes del Pólvora, or powder magazine. I'm here in the top of Fort San Pedro. As you can see in my background, it's something like a hidden place here. So during the Magellan and Lapu-Lapu battle, as you can see, it's very interesting to discover. Aside from the historical sites here in the top of the Fort San Pedro, as you can see beside here in Fort San Pedro, you can see the entire city of the Cebu City. So it's very interesting to discover.
What a refreshing part here in Fort San Pedro. As you can see, there are 3 barrels of cannon. This one and the other side, and the other is over there. Masa ko ni? Ating dalon. our discovery here in Port San Pedro.
So it was really nice experience to be here in Fort San Pedro as we discovered here. So there's something about the place which is very important to explore and experience as well. So it was really nice experience, and this is one of our unforgettable experience to explore about the place.